Beautiful day. It's not terribly hot, but very, very nice. So, I bought the Wood Miser in 2020, August of 2020. It had paid for itself in about 1 year.
Wow.
So doing all my other handyman jobs and the sawmill business itself has done very well for itself. So when I built this building down here, a buddy of mine needed some dirt hauled and he needed a driver, so I drove his truck and hauled the dirt out here, so I got the dirt for free. I got the power poles from the football field in our town. They're replacing the lights and they look terrible, but as most guys know that saw, once you get into them, they're beautiful. So I got all those, and then all the lumber from those poles, I built the trusses and put the building up in about 8 days. And so that was super nice. It doesn't have concrete or nothing under the floor, but the ground is hard as a rock from walking on it. And this pasture actually looked like a, kind of almost like a park, because I always kept it mowed, and as you can see now, it's not that. But I'm trying to get a little bit more organized. Well, this is just an old horse barn that was open on this side when we came here. I found some old doors to put in here. It's nothing fancy, but I call it home. I added this part in 2016 or something, or not 2016, probably 96. And anyways, all I got this stuff is all free places I gathered things. Anyway, so this is the added on part. It's got a mezzanine up here in the top that I've got a whole bunch of stuff stored in up there. I got a bunch of shelving up there, and it's packed full of stuff. It's probably got 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 pounds of stuff up there. Lots of stuff in this room. And then this is what I call the wood room. And this is the room that I put a little heater up in the corner there. And I want to start building some large tables. And so I'm in the midst of building my own workshop table right now. And I put an air conditioner in the corner over there, and I do sharpen my blades for my sawmill in here and set the teeth. Because it's warm in the winter and cool in the summer, it's a nice place to be able to come in. Again, all the wood in here that was cut on the sawmill, all from mostly pine logs for all the walls, and mostly cottonwood and pine for the floor. I had the wood, so I just put a wood floor in it. And it's nothing super fancy, but it works nice, and it's quiet in here and warm in the winter and cool in the summer, so I love it. I was on the fire department for years, and I bought an old fire department truck one time, and these were on it, and so I of course took them off of that truck because I was never a guy that had lights on my vehicles. And sat out here for a long time outside, and I'm just gonna mount those in that building, so I attach these to a 12-volt battery sometimes when the grandkids are here, and they love watching them roll. So no siren, just lights. Yeah, I built this door. This door does open. I do have it insulated shut right now because it does help keep the cooler air in. But the idea was to open this up and then I get a breeze through this whole building. But here in Nebraska, it's very humid. And I figure once I get it nice and cool in here, I just want to leave it, get my wood climatized, and just leave it alone. So anyways, it's an old handle. An old blacksmith buddy of mine made that. And these are my dull blades. I come in here and hang these here until I get a bunch of them, and I sharpen a bunch at once. I have a tree guy in a nearby town that calls with for a lot of wood. I go there, he loads it up for me in my dump trailer, and I haul home and dump it. A trash service, they get me all these poles, they bring it out here because they don't want to put them in their landfill because they don't go away. And they take up a lot of space, and they're a little bit of work, but there's some beautiful wood in those. The dumpster comes from a buddy of mine that has a large lawn service, and when I call, they just come out and switch them out, give me another one and take this one. And he has a outside boiler that he heats water to heat his shop all winter, and so there's free wood for him, so he's thrilled with that. So this is about an acre and a half down here, just pretty much covered with logs. The lean-to, those are my pallets that I build, and I like to keep about 160 on hand ready to go. They order 80 at a time. And I got some slab wood over here that's out here drying, and some more components for the skids sitting inside the building. It's 2x4s and a forklift I got for sale right now on Purple Wave. So that'll be coming up on auction in the next month or so. I've cut a 42-inch log, but you got to kind of turn it into a pencil, which basically means octagoning it to get it small enough that I can get the head through, because I can cut a 26 3/4 board. So it takes a little bit of cutting down to get it to that size. A lot of times when I'm down here, I run into a lot of turkeys fly out of these larger trees. They roost at night in these tall trees, and they come down in the morning and walk by here in the morning. And we have chickens over here in the corner, and they walk by and look in my chickens. I have my chickens, and my chickens look at them. And of course, a lot of deer. I'll have deer run right by here as I'm cutting. And we have lots of coons and different things, but coyotes. So here's, I kind of line the logs up here to go through. That's a 12-foot opening. So obviously I can put a lot longer log through there. I just kind of fish it through there with the tractor. But I cut a 21-footer, and that's a little harder getting that through there, but I can do it. And I try to take the sawmill out about once a month, and usually I take it somewhere else to mill anyways, and I clean up, drag, put the back blade on and drag all the sawdust out and get started all over again. I get quite a little bit of sawdust and scrap. The sawdust, when it's muddy, I lay down on the mud here, and it really helps you get around and helps the mud situation, especially in the spring. Here's an idea I have for some tables. Right here, I'm thinking about making some giant patio tables with these standing on here. Cut that off flat and sandblast this, put some sort of marine lacquer on it, and put a giant concrete top that Buddy makes. They look like a giant cookie, but it's all out of concrete. It looks like it's got bark on it, looks like it's got grow rings in it, the whole works. So that's another project I might show my sandblasting guy doing this. And that's this is I'm not sure. I think these are bur oak or red oak. I can't remember which these were, but they've been around a long time. These trees have been down for many, many years. Ours are rock. Anyways, when I first got started on this sawmill, I thought I'm not going to be climbing up that hill all the time. I am almost 63. In fairly good shape. So I built this, and it really does help. I come up and down these steps probably at least 20 times every day, and it's a nice. There's nothing fancy about them, but they do work nice. And it beats trying to walk down a slick bank or up a slick bank. This is bad enough in the winter. I'll throw some sawdust down here and it looks real good for traction control. Okay. I go through, on a long day of cutting, I burn about 5 gallons of gas. I can do a lot of cutting on 5 gallons. And in a day, say a 10-hour day of cutting, I'll usually go through about 3 blades. And then of course I resharpen those. So I just keep going, switch a blade out, put it in the dull stack, and on a rainy day I go up and turn the air conditioner on or the heat in the winter and sharpen a whole bunch of blades all at once. Yeah, once the blade gets down to a certain point, I stop using them just like a chainsaw chain. It gets to a point where it's probably not even safe to run anymore, and they break once they lose a lot of their metal. So bunch of pine I have here that I got from my tree service guy. I cut a few of these down myself from a neighbor's house. These make nice deck boards on my pallets. They're soft wood and they mill up really nice. And then these IBC totes. I've been throwing all oak and ash in this. And then this is kind of pine and some telephone poles with a little bit of creosote in it. I consider this kind of trash. And some people like burning it at the campground just to kind of, for mosquito control, they'll throw one of those on every once in a while, keep the mosquitoes down. But I have my pallets stacked up and I throw the different size lumber that I'm cutting for the pallets right here. And So I don't waste a whole lot. Tractor, and it's an absolute mess. But my tractor does fit in here. The 4400 series. Got a lost wasp on it there too. And this is what I move all my logs with. I can move a pretty big log with this, and works pretty nice. And then I park my mower in here, and a bunch of air compressors, cut-off saws, my grasshoppers in here, our old stove, a bunch of stuff for another project. Just a bunch of storage that needs to really be cleaned up. My generator's here. But it works just fine. I really need to spend some time down here and clean this all up real nice. Make it look like something. But that's where we're at. It's Father's Day and we're just trying to take it easy today.